This week Parshas Bahar. So the first Rashi, Pasuk says, "Vaydaber Shem Moshe Bahar Sinai Lema." The Torah stresses the fact that this was said Bahar Sinai. Rashi brings down the Chazal that the reason why it's stressing that it was said Bahar Sinai, the way Rashi explains the Chazal, is that we see clearly that Shmiטה was given on Har Sinai. We know that Shmiטה, this week's Parsha, talks about Shmiטה was given on Har Sinai. So why does it say again that it was said Bahar Sinai? To teach us that not just Shmiטה was said Bahar Sinai, but the whole Torah, ופרטותיה ודקדוקיה, every prat, every detail in the Torah, was also said Mesiני. In other words, don't think that there was a Maimed Har Sinai We got whatever we got on Har Sinai, and then whatever we were learning in the Torah as we're going along, those are new things that were going as it was going along. No, everything that there is in the whole Chumash Torah was all given b'Sinai. Every detail, every diktuk, every prat was all given b'Sinai. What's the significance of that it was given b'Sinai? There's a pasuk. The pasuk says, "V'yidatem levonecha u'lebnei vonecha yom asher amarta l'fnei Hashem l'kecha b'chayrev." The Ramban learns that it's a mitzvah saseh. In other words, we know that there's 613 mitzvahs. The Ramban says one of the mitzvahs are that we have to teach our children yom asher amarta l'fnei Hashem l'kecha b'chayrev, that we once stood on Maimed Har Sinai, and we got the Torah on that Maimed Har Sinai. The Rambam says, what do we have to say? Not just that we stood on Maimed Har Sinai, we have to give them over the brakim, kollel, and lapidim that were in the Maimed Har Sinai. The tremendous giluyim, the tremendous revelations that we saw on Maimed Har Sinai, that's what we have to give over. And the Rambam says the fact that we saw Yedidenu R Meir Obsfeld, we actually saw with our physical eyes how Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, say this to Klal Yisrael, say that to Klal Yisrael. We actually saw it. That's what we have to give over to our kids. The fact that we actually saw it, and not Moshe Rabbeinu told us over, Hashem told me. We saw Hashem telling him, whatever purpose Moshe Rabbeinu played over there, but we saw Hashem actually telling Moshe Rabbeinu, go tell them this, go tell them that. It happens to be, the Ramban says there's also an Isser to forget. It says in the Pasuk, the Ramban learns not only is it a mitzvah to say to teach your children that there was a Maimed Har Sinai and everything that we saw in Maimed Har Sinai, there's an Isser to forget it, there's a lav to forget it. And the Mefarshim say it's not that the Rambam doesn't count it as one of the 630 mitzvahs. They say it's not that the Rambam disagrees with the Ramban. The Rambam just holds that is the klal for kalater kula. Whenever you're doing a mitzvah, someone's picking up a lulav, he's not just picking up a lulav because it says in the Torah to pick up a lulav. He's picking up a lulav because Hashem told us on Sinai to pick up this lulav. That's why he's picking up the lulav. So it goes into every single mitzvah in the Torah. So that's why the Rambam does not count it as a separate mitzvah. That's what the Mefarshim say. And anything that includes the whole Torah, the Rambam doesn't count separate. The Rambam only counts the 613 mitzvahs themselves. But this is a mitzvah Kollel, as he calls it. It's Kollel, the whole Torah. That's why the Rambam did not count it as a separate mitzvah. But what they're saying is that every time someone picks up a lulav, he's mekayim the mitzvah, tefillin, whatever the guy does, he's not doing it just because it says it in the Torah. He's doing it because this was given to us on Sinai. He's creating a connection to Sinai. That's what we're doing. We're creating a connection to Sinai. We're constantly supposed to be connected to Sinai. The Rambam himself writes in Sefer Mitzvahs over there, he doesn't count any mitzvah that was just given a temporary mitzvah. There are mitzvahs that were given just temporary. L'shah, he doesn't count. And the Rambam says the reason why he's not counting it, he says Lashon is because ein lem kesher b'Sinai. They weren't given on Har Sinai. They were given as the stories went along. They were given another way. He's not just not counting it because tomorrow you're not going to be chayiv. You're only chayiv in it today. That's why he's not counting. He's not counting it because ein lem kesher b'Sinai, because they were not given on Sinai. In other words, I only count mitzvahs that were given on Sinai. The Rambam himself says Sefer Sharash. Ein lem kesher b'Sinai. I only count things that are tied to Sinai. Again, the Torah that we have today is not just the Torah we have today. This is the Torah we do with the Torah that we have today. It's kesher b'Sinai. We're doing it because it was given on Sinai. Whatever was given on Sinai, the Rambam is not considered another mitzvah. You had to do it at that time for that specific purpose. But that's not the Torah that we have. The Torah that we have is only things that we give him b'Sinai.
Anything that was given b'Sinai is loyal.
Whatever was given b'Sinai is loyal. But that's not the only chashivas to it. The chashivas to it is the fact that it was given b'Sinai. Because it was given b'Sinai, that's why it stays loyal. Whatever, Sinai is something that lasts forever. Sinai is something. What's Sinai? What happened on Har Sinai? Right? On Har Sinai, the Chazal tell us that Klal Yisrael Yotza Nishmasa B'Dabra. When Hashem was talking to us, the Neshamas went out. What was the purpose of the Neshama going out? We were changing. We were becoming, with every one of the Aseres HaDibros, we were becoming different people. So the Neshama goes out and comes back in, goes out and comes back in. The whole Metzius of the world was changing by Maimon HaSinai. That's what happened by Maimon HaSinai. The world was changing. That situation is only things that were given to Sinai. Things that weren't given to Sinai, the things you have to do, but they're not the things that are connected to the Metzius Olam, which changed at Har Sinai. Har Sinai, the entire world became, we want to mention over here, kafaf to the Torah. The entire world became developed through the Torah. It's a Torah world. It's not the same world as it was before. Now, the Rambam and the Ramban over there, when they talk about what else you're supposed to give over to your children, so it says you're supposed to give over to your children the fact that we saw that Yibshon telling Moshe Rabbeinu, go tell Klal Yisrael, and also give them over the fact that Hashem spoke to you, Vayichi, and that you're still alive. Give them over the fact that Hashem will talk to somebody and he can still stay alive. That's what happened. Hashem spoke to us and we're still here. That's part of what you have to give over. Why is that part of what you have to give over? And then we know there's a pasuk in Parashat Eschana. The pasuk says when Moshe Rabbeinu is talking to Klal Yisrael, telling them their milos, he tells them, is there any other nation that heard Hashem speak to them like you heard and you're still alive? There's a stress on the fact that Hashem spoke to you and look, you're still alive. That's what you have to give over to your children. Hashem spoke to us, we're still alive. What's that point? That point is, why would a person not be alive after Hashem speaks to them? Because it's way above their level, and they just disappear because it's something that's way above their level. You can't stay a human being and Hashem speak to you. If you do stay a human being and Hashem speak to you, that means you must have gone up in a madrega. You must have gone up in a madrega, and Hashem was able to speak to you. That's why you're still alive after Hashem speaks to you. That's what you have to give over to your children. That's what Maimon HaSinai is. The possibility for us to elevate ourselves to a higher madrega. That's what we're giving over to our children. There was a Maimon HaSinai. In other words, we're not doing this Torah. We're human beings. We do this because these are the rules that we're supposed to live by. No. We're doing this Torah, we're connecting ourselves to Sinai, which was a time when we got Sinai because we elevated ourselves. Every time we're doing something, we pick up a lulav, we first elevate ourselves, we become those people that stood on Har Sinai, and then we take the lulav. The Gemara in Bracha says that a person has to be Torah when he learns Torah. It's up to the Gemara why? Because you have to learn Torah just like you got it on Sinai. Just like Sinai, we were be'ema be'yira be'resas u'v'zeya. When we were on Sinai, there was tremendous fears from the Kollel and the Lapidim, and we were Torah. So too, every time you learn Torah, you have to be just as Torah as you were on Sinai. What does that mean? That means we're replaying what was on Sinai. Somebody learns Torah, he's not just learning the Torah that's in front of him. What he's doing is he's connecting himself back to Sinai, and in his limud Torah, he has to be in the same situation that he was when he got the Torah on Sinai, because you're getting the Torah constantly on Sinai. The same Chiddush. Huh? It's a long chain. It's a chain to Sinai. Just chain right into directions.
The chain forward is a chain back.
By connecting backwards, that's how you ride forward. Now you're pulling yourself back.
Not in SINAI.
In other words, one who understands what his limud Torah is, one who understands what his limud, just like he had a chiddush on Har Sinai, that he was able to speak to Hashem and stay alive, so too every time he learns, he understands, wow, I just learned that I'm still alive. It's the same chiddush, because the only way to get the Torah the way you're supposed to is by going up in a madrega. You go up in a madrega, and then you can get the Torah. And that's part of the emunah that you have to give over to your children, the Maimon HaSinai. There's the Gemara in Kedushin. The Gemara in Kedushin says, Kol HaMalamed as Ben B'nai Torah, Ki'ilu Kibla Me'Sinai. Someone who teaches his grandchild Torah, it's as if that kid, the grandchild, as if he got it Me'Sinai. What's the mile of that he got it Me'Sinai? So it's this thing is connecting the child to the chain. Being connected to the chain and not connected to the chain is two totally different stories. You're connected to that big Gilu of Maimon HaSinai. You're an elevated person who's able to get it straight from Maimon HaSinai. And of course, that's the Mishnah.
Tell him to Sinai.
Yeah. Putting him back onto the chain of Sinai, the Sinai chain. That's the Mishnah. Moshe Kibbel Torah Sinai Masar Yeshua. What's the point? Moshe Kibbel Torah Sinai. So you got it from Sinai. Masar Yeshua. What you've been telling you, the Torah that we have now is a chain straight back to Sinai. So now that's what Rashi is telling us in the beginning of the parasha, that the Kamei Torah, Kollel, vodekdokיה were all given by SINAI, means every single prat of the Torah has that kedusha, has that elevation, that just like the Torah, whatever we know is given on SINAI. Every detail has that elevation, every detail is part of the connection to SINAI. Now we know, just quickly, we know that there's a big kasha. If we have Shavuos that's coming up, right, which is Maimer SINAI. Now Maimer SINAI, one would think was Batal. After they did the Egel, Moshe Rabbeinu broke the Luchos, one would think that the SINAI was Batal, and we got a new Matan Torah on Yom Kippur. That's when they got to the second Luchos. On Yom Kippur. Why do we still celebrate on Shavuos, which was the first on SINAI? Obviously, it wasn't Batal. The Maimer SINAI that we got, that connection that we got, that wasn't Batal. Maybe the Luchos that we actually got, that was Batal. It's a terrible thing. But the Maimer SINAI, that is still alive. That connecting ourselves to the chain. So this new Torah, let's say, that we got on Yom Kippur, that new Torah still connects us to that chain that we got on Shavuos. So Shavuos, we're not celebrating the actual Torah, we're celebrating the Maimer SINAI of the Torah.